got a question for you, bro.
Uh-huh.
When you say you want everyone deported back to their country,
yes.
Was your parents born in the US, yes or
no? No, both my parents are legal immigrants here.
Okay, but like back to the.
Did you hear the word legal?
So both of them are from Nigeria. They came here legally. They went through the entire process. And I was born here in Chicago. I'm an American citizen, and I'm proud American at that.
And as far as I'm concerned, your parents are American citizens.
4K, where the 4K? And that's real quick. I was American. I'm an American through and through. I was gonna ask 4K. Hey, Solomon. All of the things that make America America, the Bill of Rights, all of our Constitution, everything. I believe in those principles. I believe in everything of it. And I'm a Protestant Christian.
How do your parents feel about illegal immigration, King? Hold on, K1.
They feel just like me.
Me, I'm born in London. Just so you know.
Oh, I think we're gonna say, guys, we gotta say 4K and Solomon because they're both named King. King Solomon from Chicago.
My thing, 4K, is you need to be deported from London too. All of you who refuse to adopt the cultural principles where you're from, you need to go back to whatever shithole country allowed you to come in. That's the problem with Europe today.
But where am I going to go?
That is America's problem.
Where am I going to go? I was born in London.
Yeah, but 4K, where's your parents from?
If you're born in London, that's different. I don't know. But do you believe in the UK law? Do you believe in what it means to be an Englishman, I guess?
Yes, 100%, mate.
Are you Christian?
I am not a Christian.
Then you need to be deported.
What?
Because if you were an English, you heard what I said. If you were an Englishman, you would be a Christ follower.
Alhamdulillah.
You know, Christians in the way. You can do all of that.
I'm not a Christian. I was born in America. Just to keep it real with you, I think you're reaching a little bit, though.
Hey, listen, we can't.
Solomon, if we're doing that, kick out all the anti-Semites.
Wait, hold on. Cool. Everyone mute up.
Can I say one thing?
Everyone mute. Includes you, you fucking retard with ketchup on your goddamn hot dog, moving you down. You don't have discipline. King Solomon. So you talk about upholding these traditions. If you would deport people based on their religion, then you don't believe in the First Amendment.
Yes, I do. I just believe in the First Amendment as the founders believed in it. I don't believe in whatever subversive nonsense that modern leftists and others try to imply they believed.
No, hold on. Show me a source that says that any of the founders thought that people should, of a particular religion, should be deported. Please show me a source.
Yeah, Mojo, let's be honest.
Please show me a source for that. No, I'm asking for a source.
We can talk about it.
So you don't have a source.
It's very simple.
You don't have a source.
So our founding fathers were all Protestant.
No, they weren't.
Except
no, they weren't. There was a couple of
deists. Yes, they were.
There was a couple of deists. No,
we had over
listen,
200, sir.
You're a fucking idiot.
We had over 200 founding fathers. Most of them,
you're a fucking
90%
idiot.
of them.
You're
90% of our founding
That's not all of them. That's not all of them.
90% of our founding fathers.
All of them. Okay, so I'm glad you walked it back. But hold on. Can you go recite?
So do you want me to answer your question?
I want you to recite the First Amendment.
You asked me a question. Do you want me to answer?
I want you to recite the First Amendment.
Do you want me to?
I just asked you to recite the First Amendment.
Do you want me to answer the question?
I asked you to recite the First Amendment. You don't know the First Amendment. Okay, you don't know the First Amendment.
Yes, I can.
Okay, so he doesn't know the First Amendment. Don't bring his fucking clown ass up.
Wasn't Hamlet's mom Jewish?
Yeah, I've talked to him before, and yeah, he thinks that.
These guys are fucking retards. I bet you that's somebody on this stage is friends with that fucking retard.
Not me, but I do know of him. He is annoying.
Yeah, he doesn't understand the Constitution. He clearly doesn't understand the Constitution.
Yeah, I think what's worse is that I've actually pointed to past quotes from the fathers, and he just completely still insists that they were somehow still Christian, that the United States was still Christian.
Hold on. He says this is how you win arguments, goofball. No, listen, I don't want to argue with you because you're intellectually dishonest. It wouldn't be any fun. I asked you a simple question and your retard ass couldn't fucking answer it. Pretty much the people from Chicago were batting zero.
But Roger, what about the idea that there were certain of the, original 13 colonies that had kind of theocratic rules about, established state religions within the state and things like that, mandatory religious reserves.
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question? I had to grab food from the door.
So what about the fact that, or what I think is a fact that certain states in the beginning days of the United States had kind of what we would consider theocratic laws. They had state religions, they had mandatory state observance of religions, etc.
Well, deism wasn't that Thomas Jefferson's religion?
Okay, I guess he fucking asked you. You know what? I'll just go on mute, and then when everybody
Stop
else...
it. Go ahead, Roger. I'm sorry, baby. Go ahead.
No, go right ahead.
Stop.
He thinks Mojo is a Muslim.
Who thinks I'm a Muslim?
Solomon.
Solomon's a fucking retard. These people from Chicago are not the smartest.
I mean, he is a black Hebrew Israelite and he hates Jews with a passion.
He's not a Hebrew Israelite. He's not
Wait, hold on. If he's a black Hebrew Israelite, I'll bring it back up.
100%.
He's not 100%.
Yeah, and I've known him for 3 years. I know what I'm talking about.
You see how everybody treats you like a big baby? You see how everybody treats you like a big baby?
You're not going to talk over me. Look, you're from Chicago. You're going to have to learn your place in this world. So I'm going to ask you a question. Are you a black Hebrew Israelite?
No, I'm not. I told you I'm a Protestant.
Are you a Hebrew Israelite?
I just told you I'm a Protestant Christian.
At
the end of the day, Mojo, the fact that this guy, I think it was Mike brought up to you that the states in America, the founding states, 13 of them, not all of them, but they had religious tests to even be considered part of government. We can bring up the state constitutions.
King.
What's up, man?
What do you think of George Washington?
Hey, hold on.
I think George Washington was an honorable man.
Do you think he was...
Hold on, before we continue, I just want to make this clear. I'm going to check who's friends with this guy, and I'm going to judge all of you. If anybody's fucking following this fucking clown from Chicago, well, then you're a
unfortunately, I follow him, and he got me kicked out of chillism.
This is how, Mojo, you're in high school? This is how you operate?
Yes, this is how I operate.
You look like a clown.
Yeah, this is how I operate.
You look like a fuck.
Yeah, this is how I operate, because you made a claim that 100% of the founders were Christian. Matter of fact, you said that they were Protestant, which you lied about. You then walked it back when I just gave fucking a little bit of pushback, and then you got up in your feelings because you're a pussy-ass bitch from Chicago. You probably put ketchup on your fucking hot dog, too. You don't understand the Constitution. I asked you to read the First Amendment. You couldn't fucking read it to me because you probably can't fucking read. We can...
Well, can I go back to George Washington?
Sure, and if this guy is your friend, I just lost a lot of respect for you.
Okay. Is he in the audience? This guy?
Yeah, he is.
So, can we all agree that George Washington was considered one of our founding fathers?
Yep.
Does everyone agree with that?
Absolutely.
Okay. So George Washington wrote a very famous letter. You can see the original of it if you go to Rhode Island, if any of you have ever been to Rhode Island. And he wrote the letter to what was called the Hebrew congregation in Newport, Rhode Island. And in George Washington's letter, I'll just read one sentence in it, where he says, "May the children of the stock of Abraham who dwell in this land continue to merit and enjoy the goodwill of the other inhabitants, while everyone shall sit in safety under his own time and vine and fig tree, and there shall be none to make him afraid. May the Father of all mercies scatter light and not darkness in our paths, and make us all in our several vocations useful here in his own due time, and may he be everlastingly happy." That was just one sentence in the letter written by George Washington to the Jewish congregation in Rhode Island. And that was written in August 18th, 1790.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But Abby, that's a letter written from a politician to, I don't know.
Right, to try to get votes.
I'm not saying that he was just trying to get votes. I mean, who the fuck knows? But, you know, the point that I brought up to Roger still remains. Like, you know, Massachusetts, for example, had, and I mean, I don't think anyone with any sense would argue that the modern conception of separation between church and state, like that the founding fathers would recognize this as what they understood to be that separation.
Well, I think we're getting lost from the original point. This whole thing was, I mean, religion has never ever been the basis of deportation.
Well, not from this country, but.
That's what I'm saying. So when the whole thing was like, oh, you're not a Christian, you should be deported. It's like, well,
I would welcome all of you, and I'm going to highly suggest, that you take a trip to the city of Philadelphia and visit the Museum of the American Revolution. And in there you will see part of the exhibit, an exhibit on the original religions that were here at the time of the founding of the country.
Hold on, but now we're just saying not true shit, okay? So
not true shit? You think so? You think this museum is a fraud?
Listen, I was referring to the idea that no one has ever been deported off the basis of their religion. In Massachusetts, dissenters, i.e. people who weren't of the state faith, faced prosecution, including fines and exile.
When it was already part of the Union, after the country was founded, and our Constitution existed.
This sort of thing did not fully end until, what does it say? It's 1830s.
so if they didn't abide by the state religion of Massachusetts, they'd be kicked out of the country, or they had to go to another state.
They would be kicked out of the state.
So not deported from the country.
Well, we had a very different conception of what a state and a country was back then.
Well, we already had a union then. We already had a constitution. So were they deported out of the country, which was the point? No.
Yeah, because I think the whole thing.
Thomas Jefferson considered states to be countries.
Wait, didn't Roger warn against us yesterday, Mike? Arguing something when you're just reading ChatGPT?
I wasn't reading ChatGPT. I was reading from the actual.
Oh, no, I was talking about Mike.
I was
not you, Abby.
Washington.
Not you, Abby. Mike.
All I was saying is if you take a trip to the Museum of the History of the American Revolution, you will see an exhibit showing the different religions that existed at the time of the Revolution and the time of the founding of the nation. And there are relics. There are relics of Catholicism. There's candlesticks for Shabbat for Jews. There's Muslim coins. These religions existed here during the founding of the nation.
So, Mike, what are you arguing here? Are you arguing that you had to be Christian in order to be a part of this country when this whole thing started?
Well, this is evolved. I mean, we're having a retarded conversation. So
Duh.
It's
Clubhouse, right? Yeah.
So anyway, about those Cubs.
Yeah, I mean, the thing I always asked is something that I was talking about last night, is that if the founding fathers wanted the United States to be founded as a Christian nation, why is it that the Constitution never mentions God?
Freedom of religion.
Exactly.
So, Mike, were you just being a troll when you liked his comment that people that aren't Christian should be?
I was enjoying his smoke for that.
Got it.
So it's interesting because the Speaker of the House, I heard him speak, say a year and a half ago. And his whole speech was all about how everything in our Declaration, our Constitution, and the founding of the nation is about faith and God. So he would argue the opposite of what you just said.